That little pain with my head down to the dirt, with the foot on my face, and my arm twitching in pain at that point.
Yeah.
And then things start to get black, just like this, pitch black. Every little journey you go through, you can pick something up on the way. I hate dead dreams. I don't want to have anybody dying with their dreams. That's a very bold statement because I cannot save everybody. I can maybe help at least 10 people.
Yeah.
Why do I want to do that?
I have followed your content online, and you are doing a lot of content for non-profit organizations, and you are not getting anything from that. What is your why behind that?
My why behind that is to actually start working with them.
Yeah.
And I want to, as I said to you, make clones and make people actually, or promote them to actually go there. You know, do something for the non-profit organizations.
From 16, 18 years old?
I have a couple of advice. But if I have to be selective and take one, it is have immense confidence in yourself, because taking that hood off is a great pain sometimes. And that's what I wanted to illustrate in my story. Because at one point I took it off. And I became me. I didn't have to hype myself, but I had to have immense confidence in who I am and what I do. And be confident in the things you do, because you have everything in yourself, all those tools that you've worked on, you have it here. There's always something to develop on. You're totally right, but have confidence in the level you are at, because you are really strong.
Welcome to DanmarkReal. My name is Amar. With me is Shuaib Hirsi, digital content and strategist. Welcome to you, Shuaib.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, and for your coming all the way from Copenhagen.
Wow, that was a little travel.
Yeah.
A 3 hours travel, just mainly getting some things done. But it was very, because it makes you so much aware of time when you get, that 3 hour span. Because you are in the train, you can't do other things than just be on the laptop or on a phone or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But it makes you get a time frame, and then you be so much more aware of time. Because the thing is, when I came here, and it's like, okay, we just have to do this, we do this, or that, and then you forget, like, time itself is really narrow, but you have to get a lot of, you have to, take the gifts out of it. It's the same thing when I train.
Yeah.
When I started my training journey in September the 3rd, and I try to consistently keep the push-ups, consistently keep up the pull-ups, and consistently do those things, right? I saw progression, but I saw progression because I picked up the gifts on every single level.
Yeah.
And think about this. This is so cool. Because the thing is, I thought back to the gaming years when I was little, right?
Yeah.
What I usually did, right? If you put me on any level, I'll be going everywhere. Like from one corner to another corner, to a bush, under here, there, and to everywhere, because I want to get everything I can before I go to the next level.
Yeah.
And I see that thing persist in my work and in my fitness life, because I want to get as much gifts as I can, I want to get it all.
Can you tell me about your work? And we will go back to that time.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about what you do right now?
Well, I mainly shoot a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And I do also some video creations. I've done a little bit of, cutting some videos for RCYM, which is called Ressourcecenter Ydernorbro. They are like a facility place where they have homework help, help with homework in college and universities. And then they come, small, it could be, now wait a minute, it was like, people was like from 17 and then up to 26, 27. They come down there and then they, get the help they need. And then they do Thai boxing, parkour, calisthenic training, and then, dancing training, but it's not focused on activities only, but it's more focused on the mission, on bringing out the resources from young people, and not showing it, but actually help building the confidence in their resources, That's why it's called Ressourcecenter. In Danish, it means resource, right? And I think it's really interesting on their mission statement when they asked me about, can we get some help? We need some help with this video or something. I was like, okay, no problem, let's go. Then I helped with the graphics, did all those small niche things for them in hopes to actually make them notice that my work, this is how I do things. And not the manager, but the leader from there, he actually saw some of the things. He was like pretty impressed. And how long did he do that in? 2 days? What the? The thing is, I did a lot of work in a very short amount of time, because normally when you do video, you know how long it takes.
Yeah.
You have to try to actually edit the sound, noise reduction, do some other, do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you have to cut the video. You have to think about what should I put on it? Like, should I put text over it? Color grade it and stuff. I couldn't color grade those videos because most of the kids, they take it with an iPhone. So I was like, just brightness and contrast, that's it. And then I was like thinking, what else could I do with it? Could I mix up some memes? Yeah, I could do some like reverse thing, reverse the timeline and all kinds of weird shit. Like, you remember the VHS when you actually reversed it? It's like, zoop, and then there's like this line that goes up, the gray line. I did that effect on that one, and then I was like doing, okay, I have an animation I made on Sunday, boom, pick it in. And then afterwards, okay, Monday, come in, 2 hours, got it done, 2 videos at the same time, send it over. It was like, how did you do 2 videos in one go? I thought 1 video is for 2 days. I was like, I had to first make my workstation, because I made it clear for them. I told them, you have to make a workstation to actually put out content, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, then you can do content back to back.
Yeah.
Because when you work on logos, you work on, what is it called? You work on animations, text titles, and all those color grades, and you have to also do the color corrections while you're doing the photo, right? So the thing is, the only thing you have to do, right, on that particular moment is the color correction, and then cutting the video, and then you can also do it the other way around. Cutting the video and then doing the color correction. It doesn't matter, and then work with the audio, and then you have a preset for your look and color grade. And then you can do, all kinds of funny stuff. But the thing is, you have already ready-made the text titles, the animations, and all that thing. Yeah. It's not going to be a drag for you. So you can spit out a video in about half an hour or to an hour. That's effective,
Yeah, that's fast.
Yeah, and then plus you have the creative stuff. Then you can think about, what should I do else, Oh, I could put a meme here, or I could do this here, I could do that there. But that's what I like to do, right? But I like to tell people, it takes time to create that station. It takes time to develop that workstation you can work from. You get it?
Yeah.
It's not by, buying the right computers and buying the right stuff, right? But actually finding out what assets you can use on that particular set you have already now. Then you can upgrade from there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you are doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I know. And other side projects also.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. And man, what are your upbringings? Where are you from? Where do you live?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I was born in Glostrup.
Yeah.
And my upbringing it was like, A year in Fredericksburg,
Yeah.
but I don't remember nothing. And then we have the rest of my years in Narborough.
Can you tell me about that? And the school times also.
Yeah, I used to go to, what is it called? This Bonnehel, right? Or what is it
Kindergarten?
called? Kindergarten,
Yeah.
right? And it was like, how should I explain it to a person who has never, have you been in Copenhagen before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for example, you have Nørrebro Parken is on the right side, and then you have like my kindergarten on the left side.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a street in between them.
Yeah.
In the back, if you walk backwards, it's like Stefano's Pizza, if you remember that. And Stefano's Pizza is really great, but we're not going to talk about that. So the thing is, the kindergarten, I remember it vividly as a brown building. If you have seen the movie, the old movies, scary movies where they use old buildings, like Annabelle.
Yeah.
And the other one where there's a little girl cycling, is in Shining, I think. Shine, I think it's called Shine.
Yeah.
Where there's a little girl, riding. No, it's not actually Shine. Shining is they don't have corridors because there's a guy coming in saying, "Hey, it's Johnny." But the thing is, I remember this girl, driving down the corridor, right? Is all those scary movies, try to picture them in your head, having that kind of scenery, kind of dark, a little bit dull, but it's like a brown building that, that kindergarten I went to.
Yeah. I
forgot the right name for it, but it's located near Nørrebro Parken. Yeah. Every Copenhagener, they must know where that is. But that place is very dark and dull, and I had always in my head that I wanted to get out of there. The thing I usually played with was an action figure, an action man with a scar, going normally from here. It was not bulky, like big, like a bodybuilder, but it was like well defined. Yeah. So that body type has always been in my mind, and at the same time it had, flourishing hair like yours on your head. Remember, editor, zoom in on his head. So the thing is, I played with that figure and it got into my mind that I wanted to look like something like that. And from that point on, I have also seen, some action man, cartoons when I was little. And through that, I've started to picture in my head, I want to be as, agile and as, strong as an action man. But as further, I grew, I started to like another superhero character, which was named Spiderman. Yeah. Because he's really humorous and he is also very agile. He's also very good at being, very reactive to his surroundings. And when he reacts immensely fast. Like, for example, he says his spider sense is tingling, and then you see him on another end really fast, right? And I've tried to acute that to my own lifestyle, and having that principle of, with great power comes great responsibility, right? The more power you acquire, the more responsibility you have to contain that and also to, develop on it. It's also a bit of a responsibility also, right? Because you can't just have a power and be like, you know what, okay, cool. Let me just use it on people or use it on things. You have to work around it, to contain it, to use it at certain times. Also make a method for yourself on how to, acquire the power in the right setting. If you're not on the right mindset, you can fully take out the potential of that power.
But how do you get there? You're talking about channeling your feelings and your power and understanding it. How did you get there? Did it just appear like that?
No, it doesn't appear like that. First of all, I had a weird journey. You know, the first thing I was very, what is it called? I was very fond about was acting. I wanted to be on a camera, and I was really, eager to do that. I had an egocentric mindset at that point. I wanted to be seen, and normally, every human being wants to be seen, but I really wanted it. I really wanted to be seen more. I wanted to be famous at that point, right?
Yeah.
And but later on, I've started to understand that even though I took that journey of trying to do rap, doing all those disciplines and the creative disciplines, right? I started to understand a little bit about myself. Then I started to understand it's more about the craft itself.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it gave me also tools to use in my other work and other things, For example, when I'm now talking with you, I'm using some of the things that I learned in rap. Because
how is that?
Because the thing is, in rap, you have flow, right?
Yeah.
In rap, you know how to pause and execute and do things in different ways. Because the thing is, if you lie upon each other, you can make it sound important. And with the right flow, you make it really glow. No, I'll stop there. But anywho, I started to get rusty now, so I'm not a rapper anymore. But it's very important also to very control your voice, even in communications where you actually sit at a cafe, Because the thing is, if you're sitting with somebody, making it important for them and making the whole conversation interesting is also a finesse, It makes you also, what is it called? It makes the other person important too.
Yeah.
That's what I feel about every conversation that I have with a person. I want to make it eccentric, Because the thing is, I'm all about emotions on the clothing, I've started to understand that more and more. Because long time ago, when we talked around in Zoom, we talked about pain and that pain that I had. But that pain led me to have emotions on my clothing, but also containing it. And when I contain it, what do? I resist it, right? And what I resist, persist, right? So I let it go.
Yeah.
And now my emotions are all over my clothing, and I let my power just surge through. And I don't see it as emotions, but I see it as energy, Yeah. That's the thing. I'm starting to, try to reinvent and describe myself in a different way. So I actually understand how I should, communicate and do things in a different way. It's like reprogramming yourself again. I'm starting all the way from scratch. From that point, right? But let's try to dwell back to the point when I was from kindergarten and jumped up to Spiderman, right?
Yeah.
After I've acquired that new hero, I was in the age of 9 to 7, something like that, right? And at that point, I've been in constantly fights, and constant fights, in my block, and that has led to actually I've gotten so much, not anxiety, but I'm more of a person who lets it in, Okay, I've been kicked around at that point, right? I could be mad about it at that point, but I still, suck it in. Okay, fuck, it happened. What do I have to do now? And I started to take the right measures at that point. I started to go to martial arts, but then I started to understand it wasn't for vengeance, but more for self-defense at that point, right? But it still led to me being more cynical and sadistic. I've looked for that interest in, because the thing is, when I use cynical in a way that it is meant for self-interest, right? And that self-interest I had, it was for a sadistic purpose, I really wanted to see people bleed when they hurt me or my family or my friends.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it happens, but sometimes I get the shivers. And that shivers, I started to understand that it was it felt like power, and that's what happens when I actually get into fight. When I was smaller, but then I started to understand more and more that power only happened when I had something that pained me, or something that actually hurt me at some point, right? And it only happened at that. But it also happens when somebody tells me great news. So I've started to say, whoa, what is going on? Nothing is hurting.
No.
But it feels good.
Yeah.
But then comes the sympathy I have for people, because through all those fights, I have still a lot of sympathy towards people. I still have empathy towards people. I still love people. I don't want to hurt people deep down here. And I've always neglected that dark side for a long time, right? And one scenario that actually sparks to my head is that scenario with 5 guys, surrounding me, and I was all alone at that point. I just bought groceries. And the reason why that happens is because I kicked one of their brothers, or the little brothers, asses. And he got mad. He went to his big brother, and then they brought all their friends. And what should I do against 5 guys? I'm not Bruce Lee. And I'm not a big animal who can take them down one by one. But what happened is that little pain, with my head down to the dirt, with the foot on my face, and my arm twitching in pain at that point.
Yeah.
Adrenaline pumping everywhere. And the only word I said is, why don't you go one-on-one? And they accepted that offer, which was, to me, very surprising. And I standed up, and that pain was gone, because rage has taken over me. And then things started to get black, just like this, pitch black. And what I saw was only darkness. That darkness, when it took over me, I couldn't remember one bit at that point. But I've gotten to a point where somebody actually told me about it. He told me, you did this, you did that, you did this, you did that, you did that. And I remember one kid told me that. And I don't remember if he was in the circle or he was out of the circle at that point, right? But people, speak back and forth. So the whole scenario get molded into another story when you talk with different people about it, right? Yeah. But if I remember vividly, at that point when he threw the first punch, I grabbed it, and then we started, grappling. I took 1, 2, and then the third one, who actually pulled his leg against me, I took him with me. And then the other one started to pull me in. And then we had like a 2 scenario going on. And then one of the guys, they were like, I'm tired of this shit. Because, I've already taken one of them down, and 2 of them I'm actually holding down at the same time. He's like, nope. Smacked me over. I got unconscious. At that moment, when I was laying down on the ground unconscious, I woke up, I grabbed the stuff that I had, I wanted to walk away, but everything was, painful. Yeah. Adrenaline was gone from my body. And I thought I shifted to my light side, which means I got weaker. I wanted to connect to my darkness again, because I wanted that power to actually stand up. And when I was on that ground, I started to roll over. It was really dark. The moon was there. And I remember asking for power. I asked for power to vengeance. Yeah. I wanted to make them bleed. I wanted to take everything from them, because they hurt me so bad.
Yeah. That's dark, man.
But that was that was really wrong with me. And I see that now. But I asked for the wrong power at that point. And then I got the same dream, which told me the dream back again, right? But I had some kind of figure in the background, which took over my body and made me smack everything that was around me, like it was a couple of toys, but they still knocked me down. And then the darkness enveloped me and tried to protect me. So I thought the darkness wanted to protect me. And so I felt like I could trust that darkness for a long time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I started to understand that the light and the darkness is both equal. I have to treat them equal. I have to balance them.
Yeah.
And I have to be together in both of them. I can shroud myself in light and be inside of darkness. I can shroud myself in darkness and be inside of light. I can get different effects. But it's very important for me to also understand that darkness as I understand my lightness, and not combine my lightness to weakness itself, because it also is my strength.
Yeah.
Because this is my light side. And that's how I connect with you.
Yeah.
Right? And my dark side is connected to another surplus, you know? Another way. Like, for example, when I started to fight with my, my teacher, when I fought against him, he saw that in my eyes I became something else.
Yeah.
Because of the things that I've gone through, right? But when I fighted with him, he felt like he could really connect to me, like man to man. Yeah. He asked me, okay, come on, let's go and eat. Yeah. So we went over to the local Elisberry. Yeah. And we sat there and ate. Yeah. And then he told me, when I had that fist fight with you, it felt like I had a communication, because he has been a fighter for a long time.
Yeah.
And I felt like, when I had to fight him at that point, I said to myself, I don't have to, I don't want to back off. I want to give him my all. It would be a great disrespect to me if I don't actually do it. So I gave him everything I had. Every technique he taught me, everything he told me, I did it all as best as I could in my best ability. But then it shifted also my mindset back to the darkness itself, as I thought.
Yeah.
But what I understood is, it's not only the dark side, but I was super focused. I was super focused about his movement, his hips, his shoulders, where they were, his arms, where they were going. And at the same time, feeling that it was a communication and a dance in itself. And when his right jab come in, I will go sideways and try to actually hit him from that side. And when he started to pull his feet out, I tried to evade it or actually block it. And I kept on having that bells back, that little dance back and forth. And I think it was really important for me to understand that point. Darkness is not here to hurt me. Lightness is not there to be weak. But mix them together, you get hyper-focused. In some way, right? That's one way to understand it. The second way is, through you, I understood the pain in itself is not inherently bad. But as soon as you look at it, and it is painful, you can see it in here, it started to hurt, But if I started to let it vanish, it's not going to hurt anymore. Because if I look at the pain itself as a scar, I can treat it as a painting and let it be beautiful. Yeah. Or I can treat it as a mark of where I've seen that pain before. Because one of them is going to lead to me being mentally healthy. The other one will lead me to have a thought that will be contagious to myself and contagious to others. Because it will still come back again from something. Because every time I see it, boom, I'm back again to the pain. And then I start thinking about it. And then you keep on going. And then it will take you down to the road that you don't want to be in. And that's really hard for somebody. So back again, after we went to the Spiderman, we went to the, what is it called, the storyline of, what was it, the storyline of...
Was your fights?
Yeah, of my fights, right?
Yeah.
But all to that point, the fight afterwards, right, I've had a big issue with confidence, self-confidence.
Yeah.
As soon as I hit my years of 18, my hair started falling, in the front of the face. And that's why I walked around with hoodies, and then I walked around with caps.
Yeah.
But I started to tell myself, you're not gonna look good if you keep on walking around with your head loose everywhere,
Yeah.
And even though I cut my hair, it's still not good enough. I let my hair grow, it's still, I don't want to look at myself, So I started to be very anxious about my head.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I started to think about it thoroughly, and that's not good mental health, because I'm starting to process some things that I shouldn't be processing at that moment. I should think about other things. I should think about things in the future or what I want to do now instead of being confused about that. And that's why when I started on my education, after I done with college, I have started I just started on the get-go on university, on radiology, right? And that was really wrong with me, because I should have sitting back and relaxed a bit and actually been a little bit more patient and started to think about what I really wanted to do. Because the thing is, I just went in, I was like, okay, programming, game design, interesting, let's go. Sounds cool, right?
Yeah.
So I went with it, and I went to the school, started learning some things, still had my cap on, and I kept on still, learning this programming thing. I was like totally newbie to that, right? I'm good at math, but programming is totally different for me. They said it's like a language, and they were totally right. It is a language which you have to comprehend by keeping on studying and still learning to speak it. Like XYZ plus something like that, or I++ means something, right? And void, what does that mean? Because the thing is, if you don't understand those terms, you will not, code it up in your head. And that's what you have to do. And that's why it's a language in itself, right? But by that, the journey has been kind of steep for me in that learning curve. It's like I had to learn a lot really fast, because I didn't want to fall behind, and we had Romanians, we had, different kind of people inside of our school. It was kind of international. So I had to speak English also, so which also, further promotes, my English speaking. So after I've done some projects and stuff, I've been working a year, studying a year inside of the university, and then I stopped. And the reason why I stopped is because I found out inside myself I didn't like to do programming. But I worked hard as F to learn that language, and I finally found out it wasn't for me. I also learned physical interface design, which was also very interesting, because it was about chips, Arduino chips, where you can actually set up lights and kind of, do things. That was like, for example, if I wanted to do some kind of cool video setting, something like that, I could set up some, these Christmas lights, and then make them pop one after each other, or do in a certain pattern, like zoop, 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 zoop. Kind of a funny thing, different thing, right? Instead of looking Christmassy, just going ding, 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 I can do patterns with it because of the chip.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was like, I'm not neglecting all those gifts that I got from that university, but it wasn't for me, so I had to stop. But inside myself, I really was irritated, because I felt like I gave up, But deep inside, I told myself, you know what, it wasn't for you. You have to find something else. So I stopped there. So I started working at that point. And that's where I got patient and actually started to understand I have to think about some things. What do I want to do? At that period was not a good period for me also at the time when I was working, because then I lost my father's uncle. His name was Omar. He died at that point. He was a very aggressive personality, but through his aggressive personality, I found patience. You know, towards the way he speaks to one, it teaches you how to navigate through that without hurting him or hurting yourself. You know, it's trying to be smart to actually alleviate some of that communication when he says something like, "Why don't you do this? Have you seen my brother here? He does everything like ABC, and you never do it. You are such a slacker." And then you're like, what am I going to do with myself at this point? Because it feels like it hurts, right? Yeah. But then you can not excuse yourself, but you can make another communication saying, okay, he says something like, okay, he feels like I'm lazy. Okay, what doesn't he know about my life that makes him think that I'm lazy? Precisely, because I haven't told him nothing about what I study, what I do, what I did, because I was so focused on how he was doing, because he's laying on a bed, he's getting food served up to him, he doesn't go out much, you know, so I want to actually know about him and how he was doing, and say, why don't you know what's going on here in my brain? Yeah. I cannot know what's going on in your brain because I haven't been there. I haven't been to your wars, I haven't been to going through your all of your life, because I can never be like you. I wish I could go through your life, because the thing is, it will make me more understandable towards whatever you have gone through and your journeys. Yeah. You know, because the thing is, I would never understand that adventure. But I would really love to do that, because it would just give me more treasures. You know, and the reason why I speak about treasures is because every little journey you go through, you can pick something up on the way. And like I told you, camera guy, right? There is, like, for example, I see life in one lane. And that lane is, if you give me like an advice from one side, right? And I'm running towards this goal, right? And I can manage to grab that quickly, I will take that advice with me and run towards this lane. Yeah. But if I can manage to grab it, I will still keep on running, because I want to get forward. I want to hit that goal before I can't just go back and then go forward. It would just take too much time. Yeah. You know, you want to hit that goal, you better run. Take that advice on the way. It's the same thing what Brian told you. But that's how I imagine things, you know. I imagine them in a sequence in a movie. Yeah. And that's what actually makes my mindset, because I see things in sequences. You know?
How? What do you mean about that?
Okay.
How do you see it?
Okay, let's take something simple as grocery.
Yeah.
You have to buy eggs, you have to buy milk, you have to buy greens, right? So if you have to buy eggs, you have to imagine, okay, I have to go into this dietary section, and then I have to run off to this place, and that section, and then that section, right? You have to picture up in your mind what's the easiest way to get around and maneuver around that store. So when I go into the store, I know which step I should take, where I should run, pivot from and get out from, because I know where the lanes are busy and where they're not busy. So what I do is, for example, in my little supermarket called Fortex, that's right across my corner. When I go out, I go in there, and then I pivot to one point, like going through the one main gate, and then I don't go by the main lane because it's always busy. I go through the clothing lane. You know, when I run through the clothing lane, because it's like there's bras, underwears and stuff, people are not going in there because, they're like, it's so embarrassing. And there's only a few ladies that goes there,
But actually, now I can see the strategic way you are doing things: digital content and strategy. So it's about doing things in a well thought way of doing it.
And also, the thing is, it's always for me more advantage to see how my end user is going through their journey.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if I can imagine it as a film sequence in my head, and I can see them go from, okay, now they started to be on Facebook. They see the ad there. Do they want to click? Yes, they clicked. Okay, cool. And then what did they do? They went into the ad. What does the ad do? It says, it's a video, says something. Okay. Are they going to follow through what the video says? No, they're going to be too disrespectful towards the video because they don't want to do that. Then what's going to happen? They're going to scroll down. Okay, interesting. What can we do there to actually make them convert? You know? Because the thing is, when you see it as a movie picture, you start to understand, because if I have an age, a way they look, and what they buy, and like their habits, and a little description of who they are, I start to see what scenarios they would pick, you know? It's like guesswork, but it's like more like a detective work, you know? Yeah. Because you're coming to try to deduct down to see what would they choose, what would they do. And that's how my work field is, to actually have the end user in mind and understand how to make it easier for them to be influenced by the ads or whatever communication strategy we use. So that's my mainly job, right? Is getting more leads, or get more customers, or get more users.
Where do you see yourself with all that journey? I know a bit more about you than what you have told, through pain and channeling through your feelings. Yeah. I'm the reason that you are the reason that I'm calm right now. So it's, where do you see yourself with all the things that you've gone through in the next period of time? Where do you see yourself? Where do Shuaib want to be?
Okay. I see myself in 5 years to do, in all these 5 years, I want to actually accumulate as much knowledge from my blog. Yeah. Use it to make a book. Second, to do something like, if it doesn't work with a book, I'm gonna make a short movie with it. And I just want to illustrate the points of the result of my research, because I think it's a very important thing. I want to actually say it, but it's gonna be a spoiler. Oh. So, and then the third thing is, I see myself after 5 years doing all these things only for non-profit organizations. That's what I see. Doing all these strategic works, this digital thing, and making a professional name out of that. That it is important for an organization to have somebody who does digital work. And then after that, I was thinking also to make more people that's just like me, you know, clone myself.
That's a big dream, man.
It sounds very stupid, but let me try to elaborate on the cloning part. Yeah. The cloning part involves, I don't want to make people do exactly what I do, but making more people who is in my niche, which is digital marketers, digital strategists, concept developers, blah, 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 et cetera, we have in this digital field, right? We can also have content creators and content producers, right? Making a small network of them, and then making events every single time to actually strengthen those bonds between them. And then also promote them to go to organizations and work for them, you know, non-profit organizations. Some do have, you know, digital strategists, and some do buy it from other bureaus, and then somebody in-house works with that what they've bought. For example, they could buy a customer acquisition strategy, or buy logos or graphics or something with marketing, a marketing report curated by somebody, right? And then somebody in-house is going to work with that, right?
But why do you do all that? Why do you?
Why do I want to do that?
I have followed your content online, and you are doing a lot of content for non-profit organizations, and you are not getting anything from that. What is your why behind that?
My why behind that is to actually start working with them.
Yeah.
And I want to, as I said to you, make clones and make people actually, or promote them to actually go there. You know, do something for the non-profit organizations.
Still, why?
Huh?
Still, you didn't answer the real why. There's a real why behind all that.
The real why comes down to the mission itself from the non-profit organizations.
Yeah.
Most of them want to actually go down to, or not go down to, but actually help help the young people.
Yeah.
Because I believe that building those young people and starting with good confidence and building them up to do good things and have good habits to do good things to, society, would lift society up.
Yeah.
And even if you come with a background who is Arabic, Somalian, or whatever it is, etc., either being Danish, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what background you are. But the resources you have inside of you does not go to waste. That's the thing. I don't want it to go to waste. If there's something I really hate, and I've said it once, but I haven't said it to you, I think, is dead dreams. I hate dead dreams. I don't want to have anybody dying with their dreams. That's a very bold statement, because I cannot save everybody. I can maybe help at least 10 people. But the thing is, dying with a dead dream is gonna just, vanish from Earth.
Yeah.
And like I told you before, I want to accumulate as much as possible and not waste gifts. And every young person has a gift.
What is your advice?
What's my advice?
Yeah, for that, for those young kids. Let's not say kids, but just take them from 16, 18 years old.
I have a couple of advice. But if I have to be selective and take one, it is have immense confidence in yourself, because taking that hood off is a great pain sometimes. And that's what I wanted to illustrate in my story. Because at one point I took it off. And I became me. I didn't have to hide myself, but I had to have immense confidence in who I am and what I do. And how you do it is only by giving yourself that confidence. You don't have to stand in front of a mirror every single day saying, "Oh, thank you for being you. You're great. You're nice." No, you don't have to do that. But you have to challenge yourself and say, "Hey, I have the power. I can do this. Nobody can stop me at this point. I will do, and I will come forth, and I will break through any wall that hinders me whenever it comes."
Where does all that come from, man?
Where does all that come from?
Because that is deep.
Because the thing is, remember when I told you that pain is the only alleviator that comes to me, and when I see pain is like what is it called, weights that hold me back, and I love that because it feels like I've something is actually trying to stop me. That shit made me shiver, and I love that. And the thing is, I love those weights that stops me from doing anything I want to do, because if you push through them, you've broken the limit. You get it?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And that's why I found new meaning in shape or break. I found out in Korea I didn't just shape, I also broke. Because in order for something to break, or in order to something to grow is to break, right? What do you do in a training? You break muscle fiber. And what happens? It builds. And it builds more. So I let myself break down. Sometimes I don't notice it, but my body actually does it. Sometimes I lay, sometimes I get sad, but I try to keep myself up. But sometimes I crash, I fall down to the ash. But what do? You accumulate a more stash. And that is like mind toxin, right? And those things is just building up. And if they keep on building up, right, you can let it just build. At some point it's going to break again. But if you let it break you down and then afterwards get away from that stash and start new, you will get rid of that first mind toxin that has been there for a long time. And then you are going to be like the phoenix, reborn, new, with new issues and new ways to go. You get it?
Is that the phoenix you talked about? You told me about last time.
Precisely, because I saw that phoenix in another way. You know, after actually when I started writing down the story itself, I started to see that shape or break in a new way with that with that conjunction of phoenix.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to put it in the story because my mind is going differently than everybody else. You know, because the thing is, the way you see life is totally different from how I see life. And how you go through life is also totally different than how I go through life. And that's the thing, because, you know, there's also some artists who actually sings, right? They have some kind of neurological disorder, which makes them taste words and makes them smell sound. So they have like a combination of senses which alters their reality up in their heads. And try to think about when somebody tells you, bro, this sounds very loud. And then you're like, what loud? I don't hear anything. There's only a strong smell. And this is what I'm talking about. Don't you understand me? No, I don't. And you don't understand them because they have that neurological disease, right?
Yeah.
But everybody does have a reality that's totally different. Even though they don't have the same, neurological disease of another person or having a neurological disease at all, they still have a totally different reality because they have lived through life in a different way. Yeah. The thing is, if you want to explain like how does things come from, you know, when it comes out from a better understanding from yourself, right? And the more you start to actually break down from zero, like I told you, I broke down from zero, and then I started building myself up again. And on that quest, I started on September the 3rd. I started again, renewed. Because the thing is, I came from a long sick period. I was 3 months in bed, and on the 3rd of September, I pressed that button saying I was sick on Job Center's thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything more. I cannot do anything. I am totally fatigued. I was coughing, and I was coughing so badly that I couldn't even hold my saliva. It was just drooling down. I felt unwanted. I felt very disgusting. And I didn't feel like a human being at that point. I was really down, and I didn't know what to do at that point. I was really desperate. I tried to find measures to do anything. You know, I couldn't. Because the thing is, when I start to cough, I get breathing problems and I can't breathe in air. And it feels like an asthma, you know? And it feels like an asthma attack. And you can't even stand with people. Because when you cough, people will be like, you're damn sick. And then you feel very, you feel a little bit restless, and you're like, I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. So you move away from them. And that's why I didn't want to contact anybody in those 3 months. So I went totally low. Yeah. So everybody was like, I haven't seen you for a long time. Yeah, damn right you didn't see me for a long time. Because I wasn't feeling myself.
How are you now?
Me? Now? I'm totally renewed and better. Because I kept on doing the same things I had to do every single time to better myself. I had to do push-ups, I had to do pull-ups, I had to run, I had to do every single thing. I was desperate to the measure. So I was like, you know what, I'll change everything. And I have still the same, I had the video in my phone where I do those push-ups. And my back is kind of fishy. I was in my shorts. And I was really sick, and I sent that video to a friend of mine. I was like, you know what, I'm sick, and you have just started your fitness period, and you want to do fitness, right? So let's do it together. So we did it together. So I sent it on Instagram while I was doing push-ups. He said, I'll start on mine soon. And I said, you do it in your own tempo, but you have to do 10. Then he sent me a video. I was like, okay, I'm at work at that point. And it's the 19th of September. So there's been, how many days? 16 days. And I've kept on doing it consistently. And through that, I saw that video when I did it more powerful and I was more straight. And then afterwards, now I am more controlled. I breathe better because I've actually minded my breathing. And at the same time, I feel more healthier. And also, because of the weather change, it makes it more easier also. Because the winter, when it goes there, it's less pollen. There's not many pollens. Pollen, is it called pollen? It's like, what is it called? Those, the things that comes out of the flowers.
You get allergic from it.
I get an allergic reaction by pollen. That's what it's called. And because the thing is, I'm really allergic to pollen. And I'm even more allergic to grass itself. So by winter, it goes away, so it's much easier also to breathe. So I'm lucky in that department too, but I really trained hard to actually get through that also.
So if we should give our audience some words that they could continue on from and take with them from here.
I would say, from all this that I've gone through, I should trust myself more. Because the thing is, having immense confidence in yourself will help you to, propel forward. It's not being arrogant at all. You don't have to be arrogant about it and saying, oh, I could do everything in life. No. But be confident in the things you do. Because you have everything in yourself, all those tools that you've worked on, you have it here. There's always something to develop on. You're totally right. But have confidence in the level you are at. Because you are really strong.
That's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Shuaib, thank you for your great story.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being deep, really. And thank you for you come all the way here.
It was a pleasure.